Welcome to my Sticky Note Quickie episode from this week's Blender Business Show. I'm your host, Producer Jaime. This week, our episodes are brought to you by Flintstone Media with additional support provided by Marblism. And we'll get to my Sticky Note in just a moment, but first, here's our clip of the week pulled from our full episode titled AI Use with Integrity and Making Your Business AI-Proof with Ulric Musset from Marblism.
Because what we realize is that to know how to prompt an AI is pretty complex, actually. And so we want to do all this work of prompting it for you, right? So you don't have to prompt it, and they will be proactive. And that's the most important thing, is that they are proactive, right? They don't wait for you to ask them to draft a reply to your email. They're going to do it by themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key difference, right? Because when you prompt, it's still some work, right? And you are waiting in front of your computer for the AI to load and to
Right.
And you don't want to do that. It still feels like work, even if it's working pretty well, right? So it was definitely a goal of ours that they are proactive, that you don't need to learn or know how to prompt, and good value for money, right? Where you don't have to take a $200 course to know how to use it, or we don't sell you the solution for like a crazy price, right?
So welcome to my Sticky Note Quickie for this week's Blender Business Show. My chat with Ulric Musset ended with a brief discussion on using Facebook ads to gain new customers for your business. But I'll dive into a sticky note, or probably several sticky notes, focused on Facebook ads on future episodes where they're more of the core topic of conversation with my guests. So today, I'm going to be focused in on AI. AI is definitely not going anywhere. As it gets more and more integrated into the software of every type of tech you can imagine, to ignore it would be a mistake. There's a thought I've seen and heard shared a few times about AI that essentially says that if you're not using AI, you'll be competing with those who do. Now, I hesitate to say that you have to adopt AI, but every industry may favor those who do more and more over time. And there is a fairly consistent history to the idea that those who do not adapt to change will be buried by it. So keep that in mind. Now, I don't advocate using AI to accomplish the core service offering and skill set that you're providing for others, and we'll dig deeper into that here in a minute. But as I was discussing with Ulric, having AI take over my busy work has been a godsend. But no matter what kind of AI you choose to explore and consider integrating, I wonder if my three main concerns are some of the same concerns you may have been having about using AI. So let's take a closer look at each. Number one, lack of authenticity. I am very vested in staying personally connected to my audience. I do not want to sound robotic, whether on a microphone, writing up an episode description, drafting a blog post, sending an email, or really ever. Instead, I want to maintain my own voice and not sound too polished. And I want to represent myself, my ideas, and my experience accurately. That means not letting AI make up stuff, especially since that's what AI can tend to do when it can't find the answer and information it needs to include in its results for you. If it can't find it, AI can simply make it up. And that is not something I want out there representing me, something false and made up. No thank you. So on that note, if you are using AI, any AI, read through everything it generates for you. And when you do, if the information and claims it makes is stuff you can't authenticate and verify with your own brain of knowledge, you shouldn't print it. In other words, if it couldn't come from you, it shouldn't come from you. You'd be misrepresenting yourself, and that is no bueno. Number two, true efficiency and time saved. The basic idea here is real simple. First, do you have to learn how to prompt it and take an online class just to figure out how to use it? If the answer is yes, then you may need to decide if that learning curve is worth your time. For me personally, having to really learn how to prompt and all that was a big deterrent for me. I mean, I don't know about you, but if you're a busy entrepreneur trying to grow your business while also tending to your clients, you need stuff taken away from your plate, not added onto it. And the second part of this true efficiency consideration, and an even bigger deterrent for me, was the idea that, yeah, AI could generate post copy or images I needed or whatever, but I would still have to do the work to post it everywhere it needed to be seen. My website, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. I didn't want to still have to do a lot of work to use what AI was giving me. I wanted it to create the draft of the post so I could review it, then have it publish it for me. So I wasn't going to dive into adopting an AI program unless and until it could not only create the content for me with my own parameters established in order to honor my first concern of authenticity, but to also then publish it where I needed it to publish it. When I put both of these two first considerations together, authenticity and efficiency, essentially, these were the exact same end goals and purpose I would have been looking to fulfill and had in the past by hiring an assistant, onboarding them with loads of information and training, reviewing and approving their work, and then having them go through the steps of publishing the content. So I decided that I wasn't going to adopt AI software until that's the whole I felt like it was fulfilling. But that led me to my third concern, guilt. So, number 3, guilt over not hiring a human. My entire career as an entrepreneur has been centered around helping others achieve their goals. And part of that picture has been creating jobs and hiring amazing humans to fulfill them. In fact, my first hiree was a great guy named George, and he's still working with me more than 6 years later. But growing and sometimes shrinking my team over the years has resulted in a lot of lessons learned. One of those is that hiring a person and giving them a job that they relied on meant I was financially responsible for maintaining that position. But there are two sides to that coin. Not only do you have to increase revenue coming in, but you also have to manage costs going out. And when that's been too difficult to balance, I've unfortunately had to dissolve positions. And that just plain sucks. And if I'm trying to fulfill every role with a real live human person, I'm jeopardizing the entire team and the entire business. But I had a hard time overcoming that guilt of adopting AI to fulfill tasks, any tasks, instead of a human, until I had my aha moment. My guilt about deciding to use AI assistants like Marblism offers, rather than hiring real human assistants, vanished when I realized that the AI assistants will help me to grow my business by handling a lot of the busy work that growing a business requires. And my business could then grow to a point where I can then hire more real human editors and producers, which reflects the main service offerings of my company. As an example, a few months ago, I revamped my entire business plan and menu of service offerings, which I'll explain why in terms of AI here in a minute, because it's crucial to maintaining your own business, and I want to get to it. But keeping on track for now, one of those things that I put on the top of my list when revamping my business plan was designing a new outboard sales program. I am great at closing sales, but what I don't have a lot of time to do is to scout for qualified leads to close those sales on. So the faucet was just drip, drip, dripping, rather than having the handle turned all the way up and fully flowing free. Now, AI can't help me with everything in terms of outbound leads, but it can help me with that, finding qualified leads to cold call and cold email to begin the sales process with. And that is arguably one of the biggest and most time-consuming parts of an outbound sales program. So with Stan, who is my Marblism AI assistant for lead generation, I just told him what kind of customers I was looking for. That's it. Then he goes out, metaphorically speaking, of course, and finds them and reports back with who they are, the company they work for, their role at the company, and what about their business makes them a good potential prospect. It's like magic, and it saves me a ton of time. And I take over at that point, and I take that prospect through my traditional curated sales process. So it's not creating much outgoing cost for me at all, but its potential impact on my revenue is huge. And now I'm on a trajectory to be able to hire more humans to be editors and producers on my team, or to give my current team more hours. It's a beautiful thing. So if you reasonably can do it, do it. Hire a human. It's a great thing to be able to employ someone. But if, especially as a small business owner, you simply can't afford that right now, then consider using AI to do the busy work that will help you grow your business and get you there so that you can hire the people you need to fulfill those roles that are more core to the skill set of the services you are offering. Remember my big caveat: never use AI to do the main work you are charging clients for. I think that's a bit unethical. So now on to the bonus point of discussion regarding AI and your business. I mentioned a moment ago that I recently revamped my entire business plan and menu of service offerings because it was crucial to maintaining my business, and that it was an important point of consideration in terms of AI. And it should be an important point of consideration in terms of AI for you too. My goal was to AI-proof my business. As I was saying, AI isn't going anywhere, and to ignore it would be a mistake. But that's not just in terms of considering whether or not to adopt it. It's also in terms of recognizing that what you may offer as a business may someday, if not already, be easily done through AI, and that your well of new customers may dry up as people find those new tools to use instead. AI had a huge effect on myself and other podcast production service companies because there are a lot of new AI-driven tools on the market to handle the basics of what we've offered here at Flintstone Media, episode editing. So I sat down one day and really took a good hard look at our business overall. And I decided to revamp our business model. First, that started with minimizing, or in some cases, eliminating altogether, those services that can now be done with AI. Editing will always have better results with a human touch, but there are those potential customers who will happily settle for a lower quality end result for a lower cost. And I had to accept that. So I minimized those services. Second, I maximized and focused in on those services that we provide that simply cannot be done by AI, and that I don't predict there will ever be an AI for in the future. In our case, that was our curated show development process, which relies heavily on both my business background and podcasting experience. None of that can be duplicated by AI. And how I apply those to the process of developing and launching a new show cannot be imitated by AI. And third, I crafted new service offerings that doubled down on the idea number 2, focusing in on those services that we provide that simply cannot be done by AI. As an example, I have an extensive scope and history of hosting shows of essentially all kinds. So I created a hosting bootcamp as a brand new service offering. So whether or not you decide to adopt AI into your business processes, take some time to seriously brainstorm how to make your business AI-proof, minimizing, or in some cases, eliminating altogether, those services that can now be done with AI, focusing in on those services that you provide that simply cannot be done with AI, and crafting new service offerings that also cannot be done by AI. But to circle back to my original thought on this, I wonder if my 3 main concerns are some of the same concerns you may have been having about AI. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So please send me an email at blender@flintstonemedia.com and let me know. And if we do share a lot of the same concerns, take a look at what they have going on with Marblism. It may just be the answer you've been looking for too. So I've included a link to Marblism in the show notes for you. This week, our episodes are brought to you by Flintstone Media, with additional support provided by Marblism. Be sure to catch the full episode with my entire guest conversation on the main show feed. Just look up Blender Business Show on your favorite podcast player. And if you're a business owner, marketing manager, or content creator, join in the conversation with other Blender members on our Slack channel, which you can find the link for along with everything else at blenderbizshow.com. We are the Blender community, where business and media mix.